So we are going to do another police accountability video. This one is not for the faint of heart, as we're going to cover 3 horror stories that show you just pure abuse of power. Now, these stories are very local, but after doing just a little bit of research, Jason, there definitely seems to be an epidemic of this happening. Now, of course, I haven't seen this kind of news being shared on the national news, and this is why it's important to talk about, because some of the stories are just not just absolutely shocking, but show a pure epidemic of people being above the law and having no accountability at all when they are supposed to be entrusted in our society. Let's go to the first story. The first story is just absolutely shocking, and it's how a fellow cop let a drunk sheriff go after a DUI stop, which, of course, the cop didn't do anything, but the drunk sheriff who was let go smashed into a woman head on afterwards. Again, this is a crazy story. We have a local news clip that just talked about it. And again, the response by the police department is just absolutely ridiculous. Let's play it from here, Jason.
Well, you know, before we play it, let's let people know what we're playing. Because, first of all, this guy had a 911 phone call made against him, okay? Said that he had gone through 3 separate lanes of traffic, already hit a curb. He then pulled into a gas station where a local cop already was and had heard the 911 dispatch, where he went and talked to him, where he was slurring his speech, and he allowed him to get back in his car and drive home. By the way, that 911 report said he was asleep at the wheel. But you know what? That doesn't seem to matter, because this is the department's response.
Kentucky State Police have taken over the investigation, looking into the crash and the interaction the sheriff had with an officer that knew him just a half hour earlier. We asked the Irvington police chief if he thinks his officer made a mistake when he let the sheriff get back into the car and drive away. The chief said, quote, "We have nothing to hide. The officer did what he's trained to do, and the sheriff showed no signs of impairment." He added, "Unfortunately, sometimes you miss things."
And wait,
Wow.
just so the audience knows, it wasn't just that he was drunk. He hit another woman head on who had to go to the hospital, whose injuries are not disclosed. Okay? So he could have killed somebody else. And I love how the Kentucky State Police Department's response was, he did what he was trained to do. So he was trained to allow another officer to continue on in a vehicle where he was obviously inebriated, and 30 minutes later would blow twice the legal limit. That's great training, Luke.
Someone that he knew, someone that was slurring, unable to walk, and again, as you mentioned, twice the legal limit. Like, twice the legal limit, you are drunk off your buttocks. Like the report, I mean, this is like a golden egg that was just given to this police officer. Like, hey, you got a pure, simple arrest here. Guy's driving crazy, jumped into the curb, clearly drunk. You could probably smell it on him. There's no way you could hide the twice legal limit. There's no way you could miss a twice legal limit unless the police officer is Helen Keller. Okay, that's bullcrap. All right, where there's no way you could buy it. And it just shows you how laws are just being interpreted for the select few with privilege. And there is a lot of privilege here that does need to be exposed, because just being in New York City alone, just hearing about the horror stories of people who it was cold outside, they were drunk, they decided to just heat themselves up, sit in the back seat. They were arrested for DUI. Doesn't matter in New York City. If you're not even driving the car, if you're even using the car for any other thing, or even in some instances just sitting in a car, not even in the driver's seat, automatically going down for a DUI. People don't have the same kind of laxness with the laws as these people have. And let's bring up the real fact here. In my opinion, and other people have documented this, Uber and Lyft have literally stopped more drunk drivers than police checkpoints have ever had. In my opinion. And that does deserve to be a bigger part of the conversation here, and just how unaccountable and how insane these people are. Jason, should I introduce the next story, or do you have anything else to say?
No, I don't have anything else to say on that story, so let's get to the next one.
Yeah, this story is coming from Albany, place somewhere where you live, where there's an insane video coming out. Now, we should play some of the background here, but this was allegedly because of a noise complaint. So the police officers get called here for a noise complaint, and let's full screen that. Let's play the video in the beginning first.
Well, I'm pretty hesitant to show any of this. So what you're watching here is them coming in on a noise complaint and then immediately grabbing this guy. And you know what?
First smashing in the door.
Yep,
right?
I'm going to get that out of the
door. The guy's standing there.
Yeah, I'm going to get that out of the picture.
Down, not making any erratic movements at all. He's standing there.
Yeah.
Like the cops kick down the door. He's still standing there. He's not running away. Let's keep playing it.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to play a lot of this because it's so violent, guys. But here you see somebody, it's okay with their hands up to throw somebody down, and then he takes a swing. Notice the officer swung first.
But a swing with what looks
All right,
like
let's stop watching that.
yeah. It gets really graphic. I mean, the guy literally, you watch the video and the sound, you just hear it head on, just like right in the head. The guy's not fighting back. The guy's not resisting. They probably charged these guys with resisting arrest.
No, they did. That was part of it. And guys, we're showing you the tamest moments here. He was just batoned in the head. Now, you think those two things are shocking, which they are. You're about to see an all-out in the middle of the street fight right here where 3 cops are punching a gentleman in the street. There is nothing, what we have seen is how they are trained to take an individual down and put them into custody. Okay, this looks, I mean, there's a reason that this is on World Star Hip Hop today. You know, I'm gonna get that out of the way because, again, I don't want this taken down for violence. Yeah. And I'm going to tell people what they tried to charge these guys with. By the way, the judge threw out all the charges. I want to make that clear. Okay?
Well, obviously, because of the footage that came out through the body cam was extremely important because if it wasn't for this video footage, if it wasn't for this body cam, these guys would have been in jail. Let's not lie. Let's tell the truth here because the system skewed to believe officers more than the alleged perpetrators. What were they charged with? Which should be interesting to hear here.
Okay, inciting a riot. Didn't see that on the video. Resisting arrest. Hard to resist when you're just getting beat up. Disorderly conduct. Guy had his hands up, was thrown to the ground, and then batoned in the face after being punched when he got up, by the way.
Baton to the head with a blunt object causing brain trauma, obviously. Long, significant mental damage is going to happen to that guy. Blood was gushing all over the streets as well. Keep going, Jason.
Yeah. Obstruction of governmental administration and endangering the welfare of a child. All dropped. So, you know, again, thank God for these body cams. Good thing they didn't malfunction because that happens. Albany is a somewhat corrupt place. We know that the administrations there have been taking a lot of heat in City Hall. The police department, not that great either, Luke. And I really hope that these guys are held accountable. I mean, the video says it all, and I really think that Albany is in for a big lawsuit.
But will they be held accountable? I mean, this incident happened on March 16th. We're finally seeing the videos. It's finally going viral. People are saying, hey, we need to do something. These guys are going to sue Albany, and guess who's going to pay? The Albany taxpayer. Are these police officers going to lose their badge? Are they going to be held accountable? Are they even going to be laid off, or are they going to have paid vacation leave? I want to know what exactly is happening here because this is not protecting and serving at all, which, by the way, many people don't know this. Police officers are not legally obliged, especially here in New York City, to protect and serve. They could watch you being shot. They could watch you being stabbed. They could watch you being raped and not have to do anything legally. That's what they fought for in a specific case that affected my friend personally, Joe Lazito. Look up Joe Lazito if you really want to have an eye-opening experience about what this life, what this state, what these protectors allegedly are. It's not what you think it is at all. But what's going to happen here is most likely the taxpayer is going to have to pay for these officers' mistakes. They won't be held accountable for it. And with impunity, with no accountability, they're just going to keep doing it again. And, I mean, seriously, you watch this graphic footage, there's no way of defending anything these officers did. It is brutal, it is barbaric, and it is a system of just absolute, I can't curse here, absolute incredulous behavior that needs to be put to a stop immediately. Anything else you want to say, or should we introduce the next story?
Let's just go on to the next one, Luke.
Yeah, this one's just another, this is a third story. This is another one that's, again, not for the faint of heart, but this is where a cop was arrested for repeatedly raping a mentally challenged woman for years. A South Carolina police officer was arrested this week for the repeated rape of a mentally challenged woman whom he threatened to keep quiet for years. Very uncomfortable story. Worst actions that a police officer could commit. I mean, physically abusing someone who's mentally challenged, who can't defend herself, and using his authority to back that up. You can't get any worse here. You can't. But it looks like he's been charged. It looks like he will face some kind of repercussions for his actions. And hopefully, unlike the bank robber police officer that we talked about last time, isn't just let go and given probation. But this story, just like any story, needs eyeballs, because the more attention that is on these particular stories, the more likelihood that there will be any form of justice or actually recourse or actually some action taken instead of the usual lack of accountability, which is prevalent amongst these stories that we are hearing. Anything else you want to say, Jason?
I just want to let people know that, he is being held on a $90,000 bond, and he's being charged with 3 counts of criminal sexual misconduct, first-degree assault and battery, and the abuse of a vulnerable adult and neglect of a vulnerable adult. Pretty disturbing. He did this over a 3-year period over at Bob Jones University, so this was a university PD, and I would imagine that this woman who was hired was probably one of those, mentally disabled students that makes her way through college and then gets hired by the university. Happens a lot. And to take advantage of some kind of a trust like that is pretty gross and grotesque. So I hope they throw the book at him, man. I hope this isn't one of those things where he ends up getting probation for a horrific crime.
Yeah, this is absolutely disgusting. And again, not all police officers are bad. But if police officers are allowing this to happen, not holding other officers accountable, not speaking out against this, there does need to be a bigger case made here. There does need to be a bigger discussion made here, because you look at these stories, they're an epidemic. The national news doesn't really want to talk about them, doesn't really, especially the Republican side, doesn't want to have a larger discussion here. But I believe there's definitely something worth having in this bigger sphere of lack of accountability and abuse of power. Yeah, that's it. That's what I have to say. You want to end it here, Jason?
Yeah, guys, listen, yesterday we put up 4 videos, all 4 videos demonetized. We love making this content for you. We are truly independent. So please, 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 please consider going to wearechange.org/donate and making that one-time donation. Every little bit helps. Hey, just share this on social media. That also helps. Make sure that you are subscribed to both We Are Change and Pulse Change. Ringing that bell for notifications. Sharing this everywhere with your friends and family. But most importantly, when it matters to you, you get out there and you be the change you want to see in the world.